Good morning, students. Today we'll be studying the second chapter of English literature, that is Mambrino's Helmet. But before I begin with it, since you all know that it is the second part of the story that you read in the first chapter, hence let's take a quick glance of the story of first chapter. So in the first chapter you read that there was an old-fashioned man called Mr. Quixana. He was famous among his neighbors and friends for his quirky and strange behavior. He was very fond of reading stories of knights and their deadly deeds. So, once he himself decided to become a knight. He went ahead and arranged everything that was required for becoming a proper knight, like the dresses of a knight, his weapons, his armors, and went ahead to find a horse. After arranging a horse, he was only left with finding a good assistant for himself. Soon he met a very friendly man called Sancho Panza, who agreed to become his squire. Squire means assistant of a knight. So both Mr. Quixana and his assistant Sancho Panza went ahead on the journey of becoming a knight. While they were riding along a highway from a small village to a larger one, they saw a horseman coming slowly towards them. On the sight of that horseman, Don Quixote cried very loudly, as he could see the horseman wearing a Mambrino's helmet. Now, what was that Mambrino's helmet? What is the story behind Mambrino's helmet? Everything regarding it will be reading in the second chapter. So let's start with the second chapter. But before I begin with it, I want all of you to have pencil in your hand and underline the words which I have underlined in the book. Let's start. Mambrino's helmet, master? Said Sancho. What about Mambrino's helmet? Have you not heard of the great Mambrino who owned a golden helmet with magical powers? Mambrino died and his magic helmet was stolen by evil men. Don Quixote now got so excited that he jumped up and down on his horse. That villain has Mambrino's golden helmet. See how it shines in the sun. So, when Mr. Quixana's assistant, Sancho Panza, heard about this word Mambrino's helmet, he was very much surprised as he didn't know anything about it. Once upon a time, so मिस्टर क्विक्साना के असिस्टेंट सैंचो पांजा को मैम्ब्रिनोज हेलमेट के बारे में कुछ भी पता नहीं था. तो उसके पूछने पर मिस्टर क्विक्साना उसे बताते हैं कि मैम्ब्रिनोज हेलमेट was a golden helmet with magical powers and was owned by the great Mambrino who was a knight. So when Mambrino died, जब मैम्ब्रिनो की डेथ हो गई तो उसके जो एनिमीज थे उन्होंने वो हेलमेट उससे चुरा करके अपने पास रख लिया था. सो अब मिस्टर क्विक्साना के पास वो गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी थी टू फुलफिल हिज ड्रीम ऑफ फाइटिंग अ बैटल विद अ नाइट. बट ये बातें सुनने के बाद भी द असिस्टेंट डिड नॉट बिलीव मिस्टर क्विक्साना. ही बिलीव दैट द हॉर्समैन कमिंग टुवर्ड्स देम वाज नॉट अ नाइट बट अ कॉमन मैन विथ अ हॉर्स. एंड ही वार्न्ड मिस्टर क्विक्साना दैट ऑल दैट ग्लिटर्स इज नॉट गोल्ड. मतलब जो हम हमेशा सोचते हैं ज़रूरी नहीं कि हमेशा वो वैसा ही हो. नाउ आई टेल यू इट इज़ मैम्ब्रिनोज हेलमेट एंड इट इज़ गोल्ड, cried Don Quixote, growing angry. Now the truth of the matter is this: the smaller of the two villages I have mentioned had no barber. The people therefore were obliged to depend on the barber of the larger village, who rode over whenever he was wanted. In those olden times, the barber always had a brass basin for shaving. This basin was kept very bright and clean, for it was a necessary thing in every barber's shop and often used. And now let us go back to our story. The knight on his prancing steed was nobody but the barber of the bigger village, riding on his great donkey to visit his customers in the smaller village. So what do we come to know from this paragraph? That the warning of the assistant of Mr. Quixana was almost right, as the man riding on the horse was not a knight but a barber from the larger village. पहले के ज़माने में हर छोटे छोटे गांव में बाबर्स नहीं हुआ करते थे। जब भी वहाँ के लोगों को बाबर की ज़रूरत पड़ती थी तो बड़े विलेजेस से उनको बुलाया जाता था। और वो जो हॉर्समैन जिसे समझ रहा था मिस्टर क्विक्साना वॉज नॉट अ हॉर्समैन बट अ barber coming from a bigger village riding on his great donkey, not a horse. और जिस चमकते हुए चीज को मिस्टर क्विक्साना मैम्ब्रिनोस गोल्डन हेलमेट समझ रहे थे, वो गोल्डन हेलमेट ना होकर के क्या था, ब्रास बेसिन, जिसे वो बार्बर शेविंग करते हुए यूज करता था धोने के लिए, वॉश करने के लिए अपने हैंड्स को। The morning was cloudy and rain might begin to fall at any minute. The barber had a new hat which the rain would spoil. To guard against this misfortune, he clapped his brass basin upside down upon his head. It covered hat and all and was proof against the rain. Don Quixote, as we know, wanted the helmet. He had read so much about Mambrino's helmet that he could think of nothing else. His mind, having dwelt so long upon this subject, could turn anything he chose into a golden helmet. As the barber came nearer, the knight raised his crooked lance. He braced himself in his stirrups and made ready for a charge. अब जो वेदर है वो बहुत क्लाउडी हो चुका था एंड द बार्बर वॉज वेयरिंग अ न्यू हैट। तो अपने हैट को स्पॉइल होने से, खराब होने से बचाने के लिए उसने अपने हैट को उस ब्रास बेसिन से कवर कर लिया। और ब्रास बेसिन को बार्बर के हेड पर देखकर मिस्टर क्विक्साना का जो शक था कि वो एक हेलमेट है, मैम्ब्रिनोस हेलमेट है, वो और पक्का हो गया। और जैसे ही बार्बर उन लोगों के नज़दीक आया, मिस्टर क्विक्साना वॉज ऑलमोस्ट रेडी टू अटैक हिम। नाउ एंड विदाउट फर्दर पार्ले ही रश्ड अपॉन द बार्बर as fast as Rocinante with his blundering feet could carry him. Here, Rocinante is being referred to the horse. Blundering means clumsy, untidy, and parley means discussion between two enemies. The barber saw him coming and had just time enough to throw himself from his donkey and take to his heels. He leaped the hedge at the side of the road and ran across the fields with the swiftness of a deer. But the brass basin, having slipped from his head, was left lying in the dust. Don Quixote checked his steed. "Here, Sancho," he cried. "Here is my helmet. Come and pick it up." "Upon my word, that is a fine basin," said Sancho as he stooped and handed it to his master. Don Quixote, with great delight, clapped it on his head. He turned it this way and that and tilted it backward and forward. जैसे ही बार्बर मिस्टर क्विक्साना के नज़दीक आया, उन्होंने उसे बिल्कुल भी वक्त नहीं दिया and he attacked upon him. The barber had no time left, so he ran as fast as he could with the speed of a deer. बहुत तेज दौड़ा, बस तेज दौड़ने की वजह से बार्बर का जो ब्रास बेसिन था वो नीचे गिर गया. Quickly Mr. Quixana ran along with his assistant and grabbed that. उस बेसिन को उठा करके मिस्टर क्विक्साना स्टार्टेड टू ट्राई टू फिट इट ऑन हिज हेड. इस कोशिश को देख करके उनके जो असिस्टेंट थे सैंचो पांजा, उसे बहुत हंसी आने लगी. क्यों? बिकॉज ही वॉज ऑलरेडी नोइंग दैट इट वॉज नॉट अ मैम्ब्रिनोज हेलमेट, इन फैक्ट इट वॉज अ ब्रास बेसिन यूज्ड बाय द बार्बर. "Well, it does look like a barber's basin," said Don Quixote, "but that is because some enchanter has changed its form. When we come to a town where there is an armorer, I will have it made over into its proper shape, for there is no doubt that it is really the helmet of the famous Mambrino." He turned it about on his head and pulled it well down over its ears. Even after looking at the brass basin, Mr. Quixana was not ready to accept the fact that it was not Mambrino's helmet but a brass basin. In fact, उन्होंने ये बोला कि जब वो बड़े टाउन में पहुंच जाएंगे तो वहां जाकर किसी वेपन रिपेयर करने वाले से उसे रिपेयर करवाकर एक हेलमेट का आकार दिलवा देंगे. आफ्टर दिस मिस्टर क्विक्साना का जो असिस्टेंट था वो उनसे परमिशन मांगता है कि वो अपने डोंकी को बार्बर के डोंकी के साथ एक्सचेंज करना चाहता था, विच अकॉर्डिंग टू मिस्टर क्विक्साना वॉज अ हॉर्स. After hearing this, Mr. Quixana permits him to do so because according to him exchange was not robbery. After this incident, Mr. Quixana, along with his assistant Sancho Panza, restart their journey. I hope you all have understood the story. Good morning, students.